Hi Gemini, this is going to be an extended forecast for you looking at what's coming up over the next 6 weeks during this eclipse season portal. So, as of the 27th of February, eclipse season began with the new moon in Pisces. And as we move through the month of March, we're going to be seeing and witnessing some more intense astrology on the collective, a Mercury retrograde, a Venus retrograde, and a couple of eclipses. I also want to push past the end of March and move into April for you and see how those first couple of weeks of April are going to go too. So sit back and relax and let's see what the energy brings for Gemini from February 27th to April 13th. And if this does resonate with you and you want to go even deeper, there'll be an extended link below. What have we got? First card out, the Knight of Coins. And your energy, the Knight of Swords, but in reverse. Oh, you are pulled back and forward. You are in some sort of a tug of war, or maybe, you know, your past is coming up and you are also being greeted with where you're going. So it's very much like the past meets the future in your world, Gemini. This probably looks like things are changing. You're growing. You have outgrown an old way and you're ready to embark on another direction. Embrace this change. It looks like it's really exciting, although part of you is still examining the past or still trying to figure out why this change or why you want to even go in another direction. So it seems like there's two main areas of focus for you in the world or in your world right now that are quite captivating. One brings you a little bit more to your past or where you've come from. Maybe it's your roots or how you started, whereas the other is still very much in the works, okay? We have the Star card, which is a really beautiful major arcana card coming through. This would suggest that there is some sort of wish fulfillment energy around you now. Queen of Cups, she's in reverse, Four of Coins, and the Ace of Cups coming up. So this is a really good indicator for those of you who are looking to meet somebody or make some more friends or rescue a pet. This is the Seven of Wands coming through with the Eight of Swords in your environment. A lot of what's happening in your environment with people that are kind of like misunderstanding you, they kind of feel somewhat trapped in certain circumstances of their own, and so a lot of what you're dealing with is projection from others, especially as the highest self coming in reminding you of your moment in the sun here. This is sort of like your victory lap right now, and you seem to be having increased visibility and popularity around you too. Not sitting well with everybody, but that is c'est la vie. We have the Temperance card coming through also, and finally the Five of Swords. If you're dealing with an Aquarius at this time, things seem to be a bit hot and cold with them. It may not even be an Aquarius sign person you're dealing with, but you're dealing with somebody at the moment who seems to have this temperament about them where they do root for you, they do help you achieve your mission and your goals, but then it's almost like they get mad or they get touchy with you. This could be some sort of tough love energy, but it seems like it's a little bit of like this fair weather energy, but what's the opposite? It's like somebody who's not so enjoying it when you are thriving. I don't know, somebody's a little hot and cold. I think it's going to be someone with an Aquarius signature in their chart. Let's take this card by card. I suppose big picture would be, and you know, this might sound a little vague or kind of woo-woo, but because of the Star and the Temperance energy, this would be like your angels, your guides, your highest self. I'm just blocking. They're both like bare-chested, and you know, YouTube will have a freak out on me. But there is this quality of like your angels, your guides, your highest self rooting for you so much at the moment, Gemini. So you've got some benevolence on your side. You've got some sort of higher power working with you. So let's have a look at this in a little bit more of a card by card situation. So currently you are dealing with some sort of a process. You are committed to finishing what you started before like embarking on something completely different, fresh or energized. So you've got one foot in, one foot out of what is going to come for you next, and what is kind of what you're chomping at the bit here. So much so that the Knight of Swords is in reverse to suggest almost that, you know, it's just not the time, you're not ready, you're probably gonna end up changing your mind a load more times. So yeah, the Knight of Coins tells me that you're committed at this time to finishing what you started. A lot of you recently have had to take out funds or withdraw something you had been holding on to. Maybe it was your rainy day fund or some sort of a savings account, or maybe you had been growing something, working on something, and part of a collaboration or on your own, and you knew that this would be utilized or unveiled, birthed essentially, when the time was right. Some of you have had to actually go to that sooner than you've expected and bring that out of the bag, you know, your Mary Poppins bag of tricks. Some of you have had this kind of ace up your sleeve for a while that you weren't planning on using so soon. For whatever reason, the time is now. And maybe that has been a time for you to withdraw funds, take out what you've needed here, and yeah, put it to good use. A lot of the times when we have been pretty, you know, resourceful or kind of pretty disciplined with our spending, there comes a time when we feel safe to use that now. So okay, so yeah, you've got one foot in, one foot out. Two knights in the center of the reading would suggest that you're being pulled in different directions. The issue with what you feel more excited to move towards is that you're just not completely ready. You're also getting a lot of feedback. There's a lot of air energy in this reading, which is suggesting to me that like there's probably some unsolicited advice and opinion here. With the Knight of Swords in the reversal, we're almost seeing the shadow energy of Gemini. This doesn't necessarily have to be you working in shadow energy at the moment, but it's very scattered. It's kind of slippery and non-committal. So for some of you, there is something that you've been working on or doing for quite a while now, which is almost just like, it's just so predictable, and not in a bad way. It feels safe. It feels like you've got this working well. You don't really need to be present with this as much anymore, put as much focus in it. It's just something that's like pretty commonplace for you now. And the part of what the other night that's coming through is still something that you're not fully sure about, and it could be because you've got so many people. Sorry, just 1 second. I'm just like, it's nap time for the baby, but my baby, but his dad is in there. He's just after coming out of the room. Anyway, whatever, I digress. Why this is a little interesting, and it's something to do with people not getting back to you or not committing to you. Maybe there are people around you currently that are very slippery, very discreet, kind of very private. They're somewhat secretive. It's actually showing up as you as well, Gemini, like you're being quite secretive and private and discreet, okay? Yeah, you're kind of in your feelings about something and you don't fully know what your feelings are. I mean, there's just this like wide range of emotions around you at the moment, and I get the impression that like you're not really understanding how you're feeling. You know, you're feeling something, and then there's other people around you that seem to be sulking a little bit, or just seem to be like in their own little world of like woe is me and problem after problem. I don't know. I feel like Gemini, you have such an ability to make a dream come true during this eclipse season energy. And of course, we're going to look into this and more, a lot deeper into the extended version. But like the star card tells me that you've set a goal. The star is very much about an aspiration. And one of the great things about this is it's not a purely selfish goal either. It's not just something that's going to make your life easier or improve your situation. This has a kind of humanitarian feel, almost charitable, almost kind of like for the greater good. It's quite progressive. It's quite uplifting, and I think it's empowering. Like, this is very Aquarian, power to the people. And so, you know, you might be teaming up with this certain Aquarius in your world that's kind of going hot and cold. Whoever you're trying to collaborate at the moment, and that doesn't necessarily have to be with creative endeavors or projects. It could really be with your friendship group, teams, clubs, societies. It could even be in your personal relationships. It's just really hard to get a straight answer. I wonder how much of this is challenging you at the moment, Gemini, to kind of like get to the bottom of what this emotional issue is with you, because I guess that this internal uncertainty about how you're really feeling and what you're willing to share, and I think you're holding back on something pretty vulnerable at the moment. This seems to be creating an external ripple effect of like quite scattered energy. It does seem that you're kind of jumping the gun on something at the moment. It also seems that you're being quite practical, and you're wanting to go back and make sure you finish what you start. And we're going to have a Mercury retrograde this month. We're going to have a Venus retrograde this month. Well, Venus is actually already retrograde. So yeah, I mean, retrograde kind of gets a bad rap, but there's nothing that isn't divinely timed. And think of retrograde like a need to repair a broken fragment or strand of DNA, let's say. For that timeline, strand of DNA, your life experience to be working in the most optimal way, sometimes we have to go into repair mode. So this month's Mercury retrograde and Venus retrograde are actually giving you an opportunity to go back and see if with Venus, if you still align with this in terms of your values. In Mercury's retrograde motion, we're going to be going back and saying like things like, have we cleared the air? Do you understand me? Like, are we on the same page? There is a lot of revisiting, reworking, and definitely refining when it comes to Venus retrograde too this month. Come April, you're going to be a little bit more bold and boisterous in Aries season, and Venus will be starting to move direct, and so Mercury same, and it'll be just like hitting the ground running more. But for whatever reason, I get the impression like you can't be fully vulnerable with this one thing you're chomping at the bit with, one thing you feel kind of cautious with, and it seems like you're sort of playing different roles here, or you're telling some people something and the other half something else. And I wonder how much of this impulsivity, and that's why you took something out of your savings account early, that's why you withdrew prematurely, that's why you actually launched something before you maybe felt ready or it was even fully ready. I wonder how much of this is being kind of like manifested from this really kind of funky, very subconscious emotion that you can't put your finger on at all. You've had a strong feeling, a strong reaction to something, and you've felt something right away, but you just don't know fully what it is. We'll get into it for sure. Okay. The Ace of Cups, as we move towards the first eclipse on the 14th of the month in the sign of Virgo, we're going to be initiating some sort of a cleansing, purifying, and sort of purging energy, okay? Virgo loves to do those things. And now the South Node is in Virgo, and it's kind of showing us where we're out of alignment, especially in the Virgo part of our chart. We all have Virgo, we all have every sign in our chart. Now, we haven't seen a South Node Virgo eclipse in the best part of 2 decades, so Lord knows we're all overdue this kind of karmic check-in in this area of life to see if we are in the, if we're kind of like on time with this evolution, this particular evolution of self. Okay, I think it looks pretty gentle for you actually, because the Ace of Cups is coming through to indicate that this is when things open up. Oh my god, the High Priestess at the bottom of the deck here has just caught my eye, and I'm like, I bet you the card that is underneath her is a clue into what that kind of feeling is. So let's go back to that in just a moment. Around the 14th of the month, the Ace of Cups is emerging as a new ally, an agreement, something pretty beautiful for you in terms of like who you feel connected to and your personal relationships. But for those of you who are seeking to bring in a partner, to bring in a colleague, to hire someone, to find staff, or like I said, to rescue a pet, to rehome a pet even, or to find somebody to nanny for you, or cat sit or dog sit. There's like a really positive and beneficial person that comes in with a very good heart that seems to help you to break down some of these walls, or maybe it's something in them is mirrored to you and you say like, that's the feeling I haven't been able to pinpoint. What's under the High Priestess? Because she's very intuitive. She's very like aware of the undercurrent. And what I have here is the Six of Swords. So the Six of Swords, Gemini, is something that needs to be let go from the past, but it is still Mercury. So a conversation needs to take place around clearing the air and moving on. It could have been something, kind of taboo, like you loaned me money, or you took credit for that, or there's something that it's for you not the end of the world. It's not like to me, it doesn't look like this huge betrayal or something that was very like psychologically like intense for you. For the most part, it looks like something to do with business or money and things like that. Anyway, we're going to clear that up more in the extended. High Self is just coming in to say like, you've got a good thing going. Victory is sort of here for the taking. It's just looking like very prized here, prized energy. And the Eight of Swords. Oh, 1 second. Can you just entertain in the living room for a minute? Okay. The Eight of Swords here in the environment. Yeah, this is just looking like somebody is a little triggered in your environment around perhaps thinking you flaunting this victory in their face, even though you're not. There is just something that's a little bit triggering in terms of the people you're dealing with. I kind of have to wrap this up now, Gemini, because the baby is awake, but I'm sure we're going to go much deeper into the extended. We'll look at this Temperance card. To me, it's just suggesting that you're hoping and praying for something, and you have a lot of belief in this particular prayer, in this particular wish, and I think you feel it's not entitlement. I think you feel like you're overdue some good karma. And as you move into the month of April, the sun moves into its exaltation in Aries, and that sun is very bright, very disinfecting, very, very anyone who has been dishonest, or it's like kind of like the energy of like, exposure, right? The truth revealing, who is not really truly worthy of being in that inner circle of yours. Because the Five of Swords, this kind of reminds me of like almost like a lost boy. It's somebody who follows a crowd. It's somebody who could be kind of immature or stuck in the past, but they're highly reactive, highly defensive, and they're going to reveal themselves in the month of April. There is an eclipse on the 29th of April in the sign of Aries, wrapping up a storyline that began back in April of 2023. So almost 2 years. Well, no, 2 years pretty much. You'll definitely know what that's all about. It's not like this final Aries eclipse of the sequence is going to like completely shock you to your core, but it still seems to be, of the 2 eclipses this month, yeah, the one in Aries seems to be more intense, revelatory for you, and really shows you how much you have changed since April 2023, and who expects to see the same old you because it suited them, and who is waking up to you as this kind of like fever dream. I get this impression that like you're so different now. So we're going to look into this reading even deeper in the extended. I'll link that below. But if this is all you're sticking around for, please make sure you're subscribed, even like, even share, even comment. That would really help this channel grow. And I'll talk to you later. Bye, Gemini.